And welcome back to the Midwest BDC. Every day is Earth Day podcast. And today we have Montre Moore, who will be here with us to talk about all his awesome work that he's doing in climate justice. And so Montre is an esteemed resident of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and a devoted father to two wonderful children. From a young age, Mr. Moore has been an unwavering advocate for urban environmentalism and a catalyst for positive change within his community. Presently, he holds a position that allows him to champion environmental and climate justice as the chairman of the Wisconsin NAACP Environmental and Climate Justice Committee and the first vice president of the NAACP branch there in Milwaukee. Additionally, Mr. Moore is an esteemed member of the Wisconsin Climate Table, a dedicated board member of the Bonding Food Center, and a respected steering committee member and spokesperson of the Environmental Justice and Infrastructure Initiative. He is also an active participant in the Midwest Building Decarbonization Coalition. Woo! In his professional capacity, Mr. Moore contributes to the Southeastern Wisconsin Regional Planning Commission as a valued member of their public involvement and outreach department. With his entrepreneurial spirit, he is focused on creating green job opportunities specifically designed to empower Black and Brown communities. So welcome, Montre. How are you doing?
I'm doing amazing. Good afternoon, and how are you?
I am awesome. And
Good.
So for those who don't know Marnese, I am the executive director of the Midwest Building Decarbonization Coalition. And I am so excited to do this work because we're here to focus on decarbonizing homes, residential buildings, and schools before 2050. Our focus states are Indiana, Iowa, Illinois, Missouri, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan, and Ohio. So we are here to focus on equity. We have an emphasis on the HIMES principle for democratic organizing, and we definitely embody the climate and environmental justice principles because we know that energy burden and environmental racism is in communities and communities of colors. And so this is exciting to have Montre here with us because Montre is on the ground doing the work in his communities. He has been definitely an advocate for Midwest BDC and an awesome member. So what does Earth Day mean to you?
Well, Monese, first and foremost, thank you for sharing this opportunity, sharing your platform with me. Honestly, Earth Day means everything to me because Earth Day is every day for me. I take this work extremely serious. It has impacted my life on so many levels. And once you kind of go down that, rabbit hole, you really want to understand what is causing some of the root issues in your community. It's amazing to have a space to actually do good work that you can see actually that makes a difference. And so Earth Day, again, is every day for me. So every opportunity I get to enlighten, to share, to uplift the work, it's a good day.
Thank you. And so I appreciate you saying that because Earth Day is every day. And, we all have our months where we focus on one specific thing. And why is it so important to focus on Earth Day as every day? Why is that important?
Well, especially for communities that are Black and Brown, we need to understand what's really happening. All too often, we're losing so many members of our families, and we're not really taking a deeper look to understand the root causes in our communities. The air we breathe, the food we eat, the water we drink are driving some of the health disparities in our community. So therefore, the lack of education allows these issues to perpetuate. So we have to be educated. We have to be on the forefront of the transformations that are taking place and the amazing opportunities that we have right now in front of us with so many great things coming down the pipeline. One being, the work of the Midwest BDC and the outreach that is currently happening.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So I wanted to know, tell us more about urban environmentalism. What does that mean?
Well, for me, urban environmentalism means unapologetically Black. Again, like I can't say enough, we can go back to the last 50, 60 years of the problem, problems rather that we've created with our planet. But if we dig deeper, we really truly understand that it's the poor, it's the dark, it's the brown individuals of this country that are dealing with the deepest impacts of the choices that we've made. And so, being an urban environmentalism is really speaking to that community,
Mm-hmm.
ensuring that that community has a voice, ensuring that that community is being educated, and providing them with the necessary resources to truly understand what's going on and to hopefully move forward in a new direction.
Nice. I love that. I really do. And what are some projects you're working on? What brings you joy about doing that, especially being an urban environmentalist? What does that mean in regards to the projects that you're doing? How does that bring you joy? Because the work that we do is stressful, right? And we get hit with a whole bunch
Very
of barriers and everything.
Absolutely. A little personal note. Again, learning and understanding some of the root causes that drive communities. I was able to learn, I have four siblings that did not make it past the age of 50.
Mm-hmm.
And so, really understanding what the problems are in our communities would drive one to want to make a
Mm-hmm.
change. And so, being able to learn and understand what's really causing some of these issues gives me the liberty to want to have action. I'm involved in a number of opportunities across the state, across the region, and I'm grateful because if I just had all this information and no space to do work,
Mm-hmm.
it'd be devastating. And so I'm super excited about some of the work that's currently going on here in the great state of Wisconsin. When I say the great state, I'm not talking about the legislators, I'm not talking about the government. I'm talking about the amazing people here on the ground that, despite all of the uh, daunting statistics that say we're the worst for a black family, we're the worst for a black business. We have people here that's working tremendously hard to uplift these communities and to
Mm-hmm.
ensure that communities of color have the resources that it needs, has a voice, and has access to, again, some of the tremendous opportunities that this current space, environmental justice, climate change, is allowing for communities. But again, without an education and without access to those resources, it's just noise.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely because we have a lot of people, who are advocates on all different levels. And I think sometimes we miss the mark because we're not constantly educating. I know people are getting bombarded with all types of information, but
Yeah,
keeping it simple, alongside the information that we're trying to advocate for and want people to know about, there's other issues like, of course, the impact of the indoor air quality, the environmental issues of poor water quality in their communities, and then which leaves people hopeless. But then you have people getting bombarded with, okay, it's time to vote again,
yeah.
for these two same people that we may not be so excited about, but we got to do it, right? Or what about, I have children who are experiencing these issues and all the other plethora of issues that we have. So, for you, what keeps you, coming back to do advocacy work, especially within all these different areas that you're focused on?
Honestly, what keeps me coming back is, just the passion to want to do
Hmm.
something better than was done before. I'm
Hmm.
a father, as you mentioned, and I often say I do too much, but I don't do enough, considering the climate emergency that we're currently in. And so, again, just a space to put my hands and my abilities and skills that the Creator has given me to work gives me peace, gives me, again, a space to leave a legacy and to hopefully, do my part to make the planet a little bit better for those that I'm leaving here. And so, when you have, those eyes watching you, you want
Hmm.
to try to do your best, to make sense of the space and, move the community forward. And so, yes, it's very stressful. Some of the statistics are just mind blowing when you really dig deep and pull the layers back. But at the same time, there's great communities that are, despite some of the daunting um, statistics, are removing their silos and better understanding how communities come together, white communities, black communities,
Hmm.
urban communities, rural communities. Our problems are so rooted and more the same than we think. And so when we're able to kind of, remove those barriers and come together as true communities, it gives a space of hope and it gives a space of accomplishment. And so that's, again, the great people of Wisconsin is what keeps me coming back to the work.
I'm glad you said that because Wisconsin seems so far away from a lot of people in the Midwest, And I'm glad that, I have met you in person. And for those who haven't met Montre in person, Montre, he's coming out with this definitely a professional demeanor. Montre is hilarious. Montre is a oh like if you have a chance to be around him, you would definitely laugh. He has that definitely hilarious spirit about himself, and we need that more, especially
Absolutely.
within our movements,
Yeah.
because it's very taxing, the work that we do. So, what do you wish people knew about energy and climate justice?
More than anything, I wish people knew how important and value it is that it plays in our daily lives. First and foremost, I wish more people even knew and understood what climate justice even is, and
Hmm.
how it's so rooted in our healthcare systems. It's so rooted in our daily lives that we're overlooking it and going to other issues trying to resolve them. And
Hmm.
so the ability to again see these issues as common amongst all people
Right.
truly needs to be a better approach. I think so often we can get caught up in have and have nots, and I make 100,000, you make 20,000, so we are better than one another, and we're not. The air we breathe, the water we
Hmm.
drink, has a huge effect on us as humans, and so we have
Hmm.
to do a better job of understanding these problems. I often talk in my community about generational wealth and how do we create generational wealth and pass it on. But one thing we don't talk about is generational health. How are we passing health on to our communities and ensuring that if you have these dollars in the bank, you're actually alive to spend them and enjoy them, rather
Hmm.
than, again, understanding that roughly almost 8-9 million people a year die just to pollution. And again, that's being overlooked. We're not having those conversations to truly understand these rooted issues within our community.
Right, and I'm glad you lifted that up, because it's definitely an intersectional issue. And I love Audrey Lore, because we don't live one issue lives. We are being oppressed in many different ways, and you laid out too, economically, health wise, and then we have the racial part of it, and then we can get into gender, age, and economics. Someone making that, what you said, 20 to $100,000, that's not far. Especially nowadays, you're getting taxed and then we're also getting taxed by way of our health because of these
Yeah,
polluting entities, and then our food quality, right? So we're getting hit on multiple levels, right? So I'm glad that when we're talking about Earth Day is every day, because these issues, these economic issues, these health impacts impact us every day. Some people just may not know where it's coming from. And so I just want to shout out to all of our viewers, all the activists, advocates, however you are doing this work,
absolutely.
just to say, shout out to you, because you are doing the work when we may not see the immediate impact that we're having on communities, but there is impact there, right? We're talking more about Earth Day, climate justice, and it's not the what they used to say Earth Day was a coin white movement, because it was.
Hmm.
Um, However, more Black and Brown people are definitely engaged, advocating for climate justice and environmental justice. So it's exciting that we are making an impact, and that we're changing. And that the government is baking in. They may not do it. They do it from the wrong way. It's an after effect, but they are definitely baking in equity, climate, and environmental
Yeah,
justice. So yeah, it's a lot of things to talk about, with that. So we have to take our wins, so we won't get, become negative about the work that we do. So I tell people to lean into all the positive stuff that are happening within our movement. So,
absolutely. Like you said, the work is so heavy. And if we don't do a good job of not only taking care of ourselves, but
mhm,
taking care of one another,
mhm.
it will become overwhelming and we'll burn ourselves out. So, yes, thank you for uplifting that. And that's a crucial part of the work.
Yeah, and so we definitely thank you for being involved within Midwest BDC. How did you get involved with Midwest Building Decarbonization Coalition?
I believe one of my colleagues referred me, Lynette McNeely. I think she's been a part
Oh,
of the coalition for a while.
yeah.
She's here in Wisconsin, also working. within the NAACP state conference, and she
Mhm.
was like, "Go over here and check them out because they got a lot going on. I think you'll be impressed." And to say the least, I was. The organization has been a tremendous resource to the state and what we're doing here on the ground with NAACP and several of the other organizations that I'm able to touch. And yes, we are super proud of the relationship that we've been able to establish.
I have a question that just got sent to me by way of LinkedIn. So what better ways can both coalitions, NAACP peers work better together to make a bigger, powerful movement? What are your thoughts on that? And I know you can't speak for the whole NAACP,
So don't
but
speak for all black people. Is that what you're trying to
and,
say?
but then another thing, everybody is not a part of
um,
NAACP either, though.
yeah.
So,
Um, Honestly, I think one of the things that we need to do a better job as it relates to organizations as a whole
mhm,
is really working through building trust.
mhm,
What that looks like, even if we have to have like professionals come in and navigate those conversations, we have to do a better job of building trust with one another so that therefore when information comes, it can be palatable and we can move accordingly.
I
Um,
agree.
and yeah, so a lot of times, it's especially for the nonprofit space, we're all going after the same dollars,
Oh,
we all have the same funders, and so we get so again siloed in our missions and our vision, and that we miss the big picture. And so, luckily enough, with this opportunities that the federal government has recently been
mhm.
pushing out, it's seeking collaborations. It's looking for groups that are looking to leverage their resources and work together. And so now we have to follow up with that mindset and
Mhm.
again build that trust so that these organizations have the stability that it needs for the long run, long haul journey.
I'm glad you said that. De-siloed the movement, and I'm glad that collaborations make bigger impacts, and we can't move. And that's, of course, the goal of coalition building to come together to advance a cause that you couldn't do individually, right? And that's a part of social movements. You build coalitions, and I totally agree with you. Like communication, building trust, because that is actually one of the breakdowns of a lot of the social movements. If we look in the past, and I just did a training about this, like a lot of the downfalls because the trust, and we know a lot of these, the Black Power movements, and the Brown movement, all of these movements were infiltrated by, CONTELPRO and a government because, being in solidarity with each other. Um, was powerful back then, right? And
Yeah.
nothing has really changed, right? So we have to be aware of definitely building trust and knowing what we're up against,
Mhm.
especially in our movement. So I'm glad you named that. And so, outside of trying, saving the world, because that's what we're doing, we're not we're doing it. Uh, we're doing it. I mean, we're trying to do it,
We're
but
doing it.
we're
We're doing
doing it.
it. Every day we get up and do it.
What are your passions? What do you enjoy spending time doing, Montre?
Honestly, I'm a little shamed about it, but I am an avid golfer. I hate the effects that golf courses have on the environment. So anytime I'm golfing, I try my best to, uplift the movement and try to capture a few more folks and help them know and understand. My handicap is pretty decent, so I'm happy about that. I'm a dad, so
Mhm.
anytime I'm not golfing, I'm with the kids and they're spending all my money and running me from one direction to another. But the ability to be a father and see yourself develop in someone else is just well
Mhm.
mind blowing to me. So I love that. I love spending time with my kids, and again, like you said, I love laughing, having a good time with friends, taking a step back from the work, and just enjoying good people that are committed. And so that's always a really um, happy space for me, just to meet new folks and have them also in the work and want to be a part of it, but at the same time, the ability to enjoy one another.
Thank you, and I appreciate you saying that. We actually have another question coming from Linda Durrell. What's an effective way to become a trusted messenger and maintain that trust?
An effective way to become. Can you say that one more time? I just want to make sure
An
I'm clear.
effective way to become a trusted messenger and maintaining that trust. So I'm thinking maybe going out to communities, building those relationships. What's an effective way to do that?
First and foremost, you got to go prepared. You
Mm-hmm.
have to know how to speak the language of the communities that you're going in.
Mm-hmm.
Case in point, I'm working on right now a project with a rural community in northern Wisconsin. And in some communities across Wisconsin, if you say climate change, the moment you walk through the door, the conversation shuts down. And so, again, understanding the communities that you're working with and understanding the language and how to speak to them so that conversation opens up so you can kind of take a little bit further. So rather than saying climate change in northern Wisconsin, I'm going to talk about climate mitigation because
Mm-hmm.
again, we have farmers and they understand the word mitigation far better than they understand climate change. And
Mm-hmm.
so narrating those relationships to kind of be result orientated, I
Mm-hmm.
think is a great way to start. But you have to go in again with your authentic self because people know and understand, when you're not. And again, look for the opportunity to add value to a conversation, add value to a community, add value to the relationship or the organization that you're looking to touch, and look to gain the same. And again, be transparent.
Yeah, I totally agree. I know a lot of some pitfalls of organizing that we overpromise,
Hmm.
and sometimes it's just okay to say, I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna do, but
Yeah,
we got to figure
here's
it
where I
out.
am. Here's what I got.
This is what I got, and then you being a part of it because we know that these answers come from communities. You have the solution. We just have to dig deep and get it out of the individual. So, you
Yeah.
know, Montre, thank you so much for all the work that you're doing. Keep at it. I actually knew you was gonna say golf. What's the word, sister? I told her I was gonna. I'm taking a class with me and some of my homegirls. I said I want to play golf, right? And she's like, you know that that's not environmentally friendly, and I'm like, I didn't.
Yeah, it's not at
and
all.
and I was like, we can't do nothing around here. We can't go nowhere.
Nothing.
We can't do nothing. And
Nothing. Yeah.
I was like, we just have to work on ourselves one little bit at a time.
Yeah. Amazing networking though. And so
Mhm.
if you're out there for 4 hours, believe me, you're gonna have a couple conversations. And
Yes.
so that's kind of what my philosophy is. I'm always talking about the environment, the ways we can do better. So that's my
Yeah.
balance.
Yeah, like yes, and then like you do things in moderation, right?
There you go.
I mean,
Well,
we yeah.
yeah.
So
We try.
yeah, we try. So that's all my takeaway. It's hard. It's hard because that means we couldn't even get into the car to drive, or we couldn't use hair products as Black women if we really want to get in depth about the environment. Like
Yeah.
we can't do nothing.
Yeah.
We're shooting ourselves in the foot. So there's just so many things we got to get better at. So I want to thank you so much for all your time and dedication. For those who are still new to Midwest Building Decarbonization, as we expand and grow as a coalition to do this work, of course, you can sign up for on our email list by visiting midwestdecarb.org. We have a lot of trainings, events. If you want to just come and talk to Marnese on the podcast, because I love podcasting and talking to people, like this is like the thing that I like to do. So if you ever want to just talk to, the staff, we can get that going.
I think that's
Also,
all.
we have our trainings. Montre actually is spearheading our equity summit. That's going to actually be in his neck of the woods next year. So he look for that coming to Milwaukee 2025. That's gonna happen. And but we do have a virtual
Exactly.
summit coming up in July, August time. So that's our standing equity summit for the last 3 years. So we do have some more podcasts coming up next week. We'll have a Praley Amani from Indianapolis, Indiana. She will be talking to us about her experience as an activist and how she embraced Earth Day as every day. And then we will also have the extraordinaire Jackie Patterson of
Jack is
um,
amazing.
yes,
Amazing.
Jackie is amazing. Of Chisholm Legacy Project. People don't know that Jackie was my boss. After I graduated from grad school, she brought me into the environmental and climate justice movement. And so that's how I have met a lot of amazing organizers in the Midwest and beyond. So Jackie will be here. I'm talking to Marnese, and then we have an upcoming training that our staff person Jacob will be facilitating. We have this affordable housing tax credits and building decarbonization training that's coming up. This is a thing that's going on at the State Departments. So come on and get spun up on the tax credits that you can receive. And I really thank everybody for tuning in to all the work that we're doing. Once again, our membership is free. Okay. We love people getting to do the work and how we can do the work and why we do the work. So thank you so much for being tuning into the Earth Day is Everyday podcast with Marnese and of course the Midwest Building Decarbonization Coalition. Have a wonderful day, everyone. And bye, Montre.